heart constricting. For hundreds of years, her family had been part of an elite group known as Diamonds. Their role was to guard the secrets of the Cave of Wonders and its most prized possession, a lamp said to have the power to give its owner 3 wishes to ask for anything they wanted in the world. A power like that was too big for any one person to possess, and so, like those in her family line that had come before her, she had been tasked with protecting the cave and anyone who dared try to access it. While this role seemed to come with hardships, Diamonds were constantly on the move, never possessing more than what each of them could carry on their back, their true identity needing to remain hidden in order to protect the cave. She'd felt a sense of pride and purpose doing this job, and she'd hoped to pass on these lessons to her child as well. She wanted her child to know that being a diamond was a gift. A complicated gift because, while there were several diamonds tasked with protecting the cave, only 2 diamonds a generation carried the artifact needed to actually open the cave, a magical beetle that had been split in half for its own protection. Each half had been passed from diamond to diamond, moving around the world in the hopes that the 2 parts would never reconnect and the cave would remain closed. This method had worked for hundreds of years, but her visions worried her. They foretold a different future for her child, one where he fell victim to a powerful sorcerer who would trick him into following his nefarious plan. She suspected this sorcerer was part of the Azalam, a shadowy globe-trotting organization that had long searched for the power to open the cave to no avail. But if her son gave the beetle to them, the cave would be opened. The fate of the world would be at stake. This was not a future she could allow to happen. That's why she needed to get her child to a diamond who could keep him safe, one whose identity was still hidden from the Azalam. She and her husband had learned that this diamond's methods were a bit unconventional, but he'd managed to hide other diamonds before. Once the danger had cleared, they could go back for the boy, but for now, they had to let him go. Keeping him hidden was the child's only hope.
"Wait! Could it be?"
the man said suddenly. She looked over at the man building a fire to keep them warm as the temperature dropped. His large dark eyes flickered in the reflection of the campfire.
"Is that Agrabah?"
She squinted to see over the rising smoke and could just make out faint lights in distance across the darkened sky. Was that Agrabah? For so long she'd heard about the city's large number of scholars and architectural achievements. Agrabah was a city in which she'd always dreamed of living, raising a family, and learning from the many fine institutions that she wanted her own child to attend. She could see herself in her free time taking up poetry and studying with those who could help her learn how to be a healer, too. But now that dream was replaced by a new one that saw her son delivered safe and sound to his new guardian at all costs. After so many weeks of being on the run, holding secret meetings, and being shuttled from safe house to safe house by stranger after stranger, that was about to happen. Agrabah was within reach. The babe in her arms stirred, and she knew he'd wake and have to eat soon. She just wanted to wait till the fire was roaring and their tent was secure. She lifted the blanket that was wrapped around him and stared down at the child's face as he blinked awake. He had a crop of black hair, thick for a newborn, and even thicker eyebrows, which gave him the distinct look of someone always deep in thought. He looked up at her as she gently stroked one of his hands. The baby wrapped his small fingers around her own, holding tight. Tears streamed down the woman's face.
"Second thoughts?"
the man asked quietly. "A few," she whispered, watching the boy. She looked up at her husband. "What if I'm wrong?" He placed a hand on her arm that was holding the baby.
"Have your visions ever been wrong before?"
he asked gently. No. For once, she wished her gift had betrayed her, but it never had. Since she was small, she had been skilled in reading the stars to gather clues about the future. Her visions were always accurate.
"He'll be safe with him," the man told her again. "He knows what it means to have a mark on his head, just like our son. And he's managed to keep his identity secret from everyone."
"He's said to be reckless," the woman said, unable to keep the bitterness off her tongue.
"He's also said to be the best guide of all the diamonds," the man replied. "He's unconventional."